Black skin has naturally excellent protection from the sun. White skin needs the extra help of a sunscreen like UV.
Better to be safe than sorry.
So right here we have the book, Thy Son, Thy Rod, and Thy Staff, the hidden ancient path to spiritual transformation. Okay. Right here, science of melanin. Melanin can absorb any type of energy, including mechanical and also any wavelength. Melanin is classically defined as a dark brown to black pigment occurring in the hair, skin, and iris of the eye in people and animals. It is responsible for the tanning of skin exposed to sunlight. The scientific community progressively matured into a greater understanding of melanin, but even the most mature scientists will tell you that there is so much more to learn. We are all born with a varying degrees of melanin, but genetics have proven the most melanated race is the black race. So basically, the Sumerians referred to themselves as this word right here, which means the black-headed people. Okay. Herodotus states in a few passages that the Egyptians were a black/dark Negroid people. According to most translations, Herodotus states that a Greek oracle was known to be from Egypt because she was black, that the natives of the Nile region are black with heat, and that the Egyptians were black-skinned with woolly hair. Okay. So, where I want to get to, right here. It appears the Most High has created a melanin-based photosynthetic molecular skin suit for humans. Okay, like this right here, which is a jasper or sardine color, right? Or ruddy. When you go to Revelations 4 and 3. So right here, Revelations 4 and 3. And of course, this is the Oxford annotated. And right here it states, let's just read it. Let's just start at verse 1. After this I looked, and there in heaven a door stood open, and the first voice which I had heard speaking to me like a trumpet said, "Come up here, and I will show you what must take place after this." Verse 2, at once I was in the Spirit. Okay. And there in heaven stood a throne with one seated on the throne. And the one seated there looks like jasper and carnelian, and around the throne is a rainbow that looks like a emerald. So of course, the jasper or carnelian or sardine stone. Okay. Which is right here. Okay. Rainbow jasper. By looking at the color of the stones, we know that both John and the painter were initially describing a brown skin creator. And of course, he was in the Spirit. After this, I looked, and there in heaven a door stood open, and the first voice which I had heard speaking to me like a trumpet said, "Come up here, and I will show you what must take place after this." At once I was in the Spirit. Okay. All right. Now, see. So obviously, when used to be videos on YouTube, the UV camera suntan lotion is blackface, right? As you can see, her less or no melanin. Her when she puts on suntan lotion. Maybe that's why they hate us. Okay. And many various other reasons. Okay.
What sunscreen looks like using an ultraviolet camera. But why does it look like this? And how does it even work anyway? Sunscreen is designed to protect us from the UV radiation that makes it through Earth's atmosphere. From lowest energy to highest, there are 3 different kinds: UVA, UVB, and UVC. UVC can be so damaging that it's used to sterilize hospitals, but thankfully the ozone layer blocks it out, so we don't have to worry about it that much. 95% of the UV light that does reach us is UVA, and the other 5% is UVB. It's UVB that primarily causes sunburn, but both can cause DNA damage by creating mutations that are really hard to repair and can break down tissue, causing wrinkles and sun-related aging. That's why wearing sunscreen is so important. It helps protect us from this invisible but harmful part of sunlight. Now, sunscreen comes in 2 main types: chemical and mineral. Chemical sunscreens include ingredients like these. See those alternating single and double bond structures? They are great at absorbing photons with ultraviolet energy levels, and then they convert them into tiny amounts of heat, which is why on our UV camera, they appear dark. It's sort of like a supercharged version of melanin. Melanin is a pigment that's naturally formed in the skin and forms a shield to absorb UV light and protect the nucleus and the DNA inside our cells. Melanin itself has a sun protection factor, or SPF, between 2 and 4. The body produces more melanin as a response to UV-related DNA damage. So every time you tan, it's actually a sign of harm to your skin. Then there are mineral sunscreens, which look a little different. Although they primarily absorb UV light like chemical sunscreen, they also reflect some of it, which is why what you see looks lighter. Many animals can actually naturally see UV light, so if they had to put on sunscreen, I'm sure they'd never miss a spot. Sadly, for us humans, it's invisible, so we have to use a UV camera.
So right here it states, melanin is a key cell to maintain balance, health in the human body, and it all begins with sunlight.
I won't live up to any expectations. What you see is what you get. And worse yet, I can't give an explanation for why it's gray on your side. Better yet, I'll give you an indication for why you're feeling deprived. We'll never let lack of an imagination keep us locked up inside, even when the sun has died. Somehow in the city, it's summer in the city. Somehow in the city, it's summer in the city. We'll never let lack of an imagination keep us locked up inside.
And of course, right here, still shot of the so-called black woman and the so-called black man, what healthy skin looks like. And oftentimes in our history, whether it's blackface or when you go to the statues or the heraldry or emblems in Europe showing the Moors, they are telling you this is what healthy skin looks like under UV light. So the notion that the trickery or sorcery that they put on our people, especially the brothers and sisters in the Jamaican or Caribbean islands that like to bleach their skin, those people are under a delusional or delusions of grandeur, because the Most High gives you protection through your melanin. And no, I'm not saying I'm worship melanin, but it's a known fact that even these Caucasians know that melanin or darker shades of it is a good thing. And yet our people have been brainwashed, not all, or conditioned to believe that the darker you are, the more ugly you are. That is a bunch of crock bullshit. Because when that day happens in the future, when the sun comes or whatever the Most High has in store, you're going to be wanting some type of protection. And this is what they're afraid of. But they got psychological warfare through the television, the media, to curse you to believe that dark skin is ugly, detestable, void of light, and all the other bullshit.
Even when the sun is dark, somewhere in the city, somewhere in the city. On this lonely town, summer comes around when you really want it. Immortalized, young forever now. There's more life than running in the circles you come. No more raining on this lonely town. Summer comes around when you really want it. Immortalized, young forever now. Come on and spend the summer with me.
In other words, find a way to observe the sunrise and the sunset, because your endocrine system feeds off it and in turn creates melanated cells. This means there is a direct connection between the endocrine system and melanin's role in the gene expression. Okay. All right, here. There is another reference to healing with the sun, as in Malachi 4:1-3, and this event must change how our existing genes are expressed, or quite possibly activating DNA known as junk. It also begs the question of what kind of healing will take place. Okay. What they call junk DNA, or dormant genes. So right here it states, finally, melanin is an amazing molecule. To have in the human body, and we all have various amounts of it. Some people are darker than others, which means they can create energy quicker. Okay. But like the story of the rabbit versus the turtle, the moral is slow and steady wins the race, which fits in with the safe sun-gazing methodology, meaning a disciplined daily approach will eventually unlock the kingdom within, in conjunction with the prayer, fasting, keyword fasting, and proper tools. Okay. He also states, finally, these are all dark-skinned civilizations. I'm going to repeat that. Okay. Let's go to this. total prophecy, Malachi 4:2-2. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and yea, shall go forth and grow up as calves in the stall of the stall. The transformative powers of the sun on the human body are amazing. It seems everything created by the Most High has duality, and this must include the sun. I present a case of the sun's dual effect on the spiritual cultivation. Most people understand the sun can give you a tan, but how many know the effect on the human spirit? I will tell you, not many. One of the at least discussed prophecies in the Bible regards the sun. Hollywood addressed this prophecy in the movie The Knowing, starring Nicolas Cage. This movie addressed the prophetic book of Malachi 4:1, where it states, For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as a oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly, the Edomites or the Caucasoid Caucasians, or Psalms 83, shall be stubble, and the day that cometh shall burn them up, says the Lord of hosts. Now we heard that same phrase from the movie The Book of Eli, where he said the sun came down and burned everyone up. And if you're lucky to hide underground and bunkers and all the other stuff, right?
I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures, leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me.
That's beautiful.
You like that?
Did you write that?
Yes, I did.
Really?
No. No, that was around a long time before you and I got here, that's for sure.
What did you mean when you said it's not just any book?
It's the only one.
Really?
After the war, people made it their business to find and destroy any that the fires didn't get already. Some people said this was the reason for the war in the first place. Anyway, it's the only one that survived.
How'd you get it?
They said that the war tore a hole in the sky. You probably heard the stories.
Yeah.
Tore a hole in the sky, sun came down, and burned everything. Everything and everybody. You were lucky to hole up and hide in a place like this or underground. Most people weren't lucky.
That shall leave them neither root nor branch. This movie showcased the destruction of the earth via a massive coronal mass ejection. The sun burned the earth like a marshmallow in a bonfire. Let's see. And the silver lining was angels saved some of the children of the earth. Right here we have the Bible encyclopedia and dictionary faucets. We go to angel. Okay. Now right here it states, and this is angel. They appear like the prophets, which was Eli in the movie, and kings in subsequent times, in the character of the Most High's ministers, because he's carrying the book, right? Carrying out the Most High's purposes in relation to Israel and the heathen world powers. Okay? So it makes a lot of sense. Yes, he's a prophet in the movie, but also he's an angel of the Most High in the flesh. An avatar, a teacher, a judge, the blue man, which is the Negro. Of course, he's playing the magical Negro, of course, saving the so-called white woman or Edomite, Caucasian woman, like they portray most of our people in Hollywood. Even Hopi have a prophecy of the world burned by fire. This prophecy is not all bad because this solar event is prophesied to transform DNA. This solar event speaks of a moment in time where the sun will heal the righteous and burn the wicked. The Hebrew word for righteous is cheshira, and it means straight path. I probably butchered it, so bear with me. After reading these previous chapters, I believe this straight path is self-explanatory. It cannot hurt. Solar conditioning is part of this path. The Hebrew word for wicked is rasha, and it means departing from the path of God. Now imagine how many people departed from the path of the Most High. When Oprah was marketing a new age philosophy on her titular talk show, she said, "There are many paths to the light." Now you know there are not many paths, but there is a formula of a loving heart, and then the solar conversion methodologies discussed in the previous chapters. Oprah was obvious to the role of the sun because of the logical emotional alchemy presented by a staple of New Age authors she promoted. Okay. Let me see. Right here, the great day of Yahweh. For behold, the day is coming, burning like an oven, when the arrogant and tall evildoers will be stubble. The day that is coming shall set them ablaze, says the Lord of hosts, so that it will leave them neither root nor branch. But for you who fear my name, the Son of Righteousness shall rise with healing in its wings. You shall go out leaping like calves from the stall, and you shall tread down the wicked, for they will be ashes under the soles of your feet on the day when I act, says the Lord of hosts, or Yahweh. Remember the law of my servant Moses, statutes and rules that I commanded him at Horeb for all Israel. Okay. 12 tribes, which is not a landmass, but a people. Behold, I will send you Elijah, the prophet, before the great and awesome day of the Lord comes. And he will turn the hearts of the fathers to their children, and the hearts of the children to their fathers, lest I come and strike the land with a decree of utter destruction. Can the sun differentiate between who is righteous and who is wicked? If so, how would the sun measure the man?
Black baby doll is being dehumanized on Chinese social media for stress relief. Here's what we know. The doll called Natasha comes in multiple skin tones, black, brown, and white. But it's the black version that has gone viral on social media platforms Douyin and Red Nerd, in videos showing users punching it, stomping on it, running it over, and pouring boiling water on it. An explanation circulated on the same platforms claiming the white version looks too human-like to destroy, while the black version was described as ugly, abstract, and interesting. According to Chinese language accounts, the doll was created in March 2026 by a blogger who used it as a surrogate baby amid pressure from family to get married. The name Natasha stuck because it phonetically resembles a word for trash can in the Chaoshan dialect of southern China. The doll is manufactured and sold by multiple factories in China, among them companies listed on the wholesale platform madeinchina.com, based in Shenzhen and Guangxi. It wholesales for under $2 a piece and is now available globally on Amazon, eBay, AliExpress, and Shein. This isn't the first time anti-black content has gone viral viral on Chinese platforms. In 2022, BBC Africa Eye released a documentary exposing an industry selling videos of African children in Malawi coached to repeat demeaning phrases in Mandarin. The Chinese government dismissed it as an isolated case by a fool, but according to a Human Rights Watch report published on August 16, 2023, platform responses were rigid, arbitrary, and opaque, and black users who reported racist content received only automated replies stating nothing had violated guidelines. Human Rights Watch found that the Chinese government is quick to delete content critical to the Chinese government, but at the same time ignores pervasive hate speech against black people on the Chinese internet. Neither Douyin nor Red Note has issued a public statement on the Natasha doll videos.
So the Chinese people over in China are using black baby dolls for stress relief.
我啥也不是，我就是大笨蛋，我是大笨蛋，我是黑鬼，金沙鸡。
哎呦哎呦哎呦哎呦！我操我操
！Level 3。
Holy shit！ 我新买的邋遢衫。
你又买这些破玩意儿？这什么玩意儿啊！你这。
我邋遢衫。
This is why I believe when you are born again, you actually become son-worthy as well through process outlined in this book. There is another prophecy that speaks about the sun, and the power of the sun on this day is almost unimaginable. Isaiah 30:26 states, "The earth will receive 7 days of sunshine in 1 day." This must be connected to Malachi 4:1-6, in that amount of radiation will certainly pass through walls. So even if you are not outside, the rays will find you, meaning there is no escaping the consequences of this event. The sun's ultraviolet UV light consists of radiation acting as an agent that causes mutations in DNA. The exposure of ultraviolet light causes endocrine chemical changes, altering the shape of DNA. This is a double-edged sword because it could correct the DNA's shape or damage DNA code. Skin cancer is the outcome of DNA damage to the skin after prolonged exposure to the sun. In an earlier chapter, I presented the human body increases melanin production when fasting, and melanin protects the human body from the excessive solar radiation. So that's why I put up here prayer, fasting, sunlight, sunrise, sunset. Okay. Now right here, does it not make sense to condition the human body safely using the sun as a tool? I believe there is a misunderstanding when it comes to pre-tribulation perception and this connection to the sun. Matthew 24:40 states, "Then shall two be in the field, the one shall be taken and the other left." There's no such thing as left behind. That's a bunch of BS, bullshit doctrine. The misconception is the righteous will be taken, but how can the righteous be healed on the day of the Lord if they are not on earth? Question mark. The wicked, those who left the straight path, will be the ones taken off the earth through a fiery death process. So you want to be left here. A lot of these Christians and different sects believe they want to be taken away. No, you don't want to be taken away. Okay. On the day of the Lord, the wicked will be burned to ashes. There's also another scripture that proves the believers will be on the earth for the second coming. 1 Thessalonians 4:17 states, "Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds. Now right here, the park where I sun gaze, he leadeth me to still waters. Again, I experienced a great calming feeling, and I realized the depression was leaving me. I did everything by the sun gazing book when I did it the first time. I went at sunset, and I was barefoot on the dirt. The third day it hit me that this whole scene reminded me of Psalms 23. Yahweh is my shepherd. I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Okay. I was lying on the green grass before I sun gazed right next to a calm lake. After I finished sun gazing, I felt like my soul was being restored because the depression was leaving me. It was a remarkable emotional feeling because I was accustomed to feeling depressed. If you're looking to regain a sense of calm and tranquility, the sun gazing is the way to go. However, the ancients have shown us there is much more to this, and it leads to the kingdom within. Now, right here, it says, priest of Kohan used triangle for blessings and sun gazing. Now, of course, this symbol has been demonized because we see a lot of celebrities like Jay-Z or even a wrestler named DDP throw up this sign, right? So right here it states, for instance, the triangle is related to the Winter Triangle constellation. However, now the Illuminati are given acknowledgement for it. Alternatively, a former crack dealer who goes by the name Jay-Z is given credit for the ancient triangle symbol. And so when you see him throwing it up, your mind or certain religious sects are going to believe that it is evil. Okay? None of this is true. If you study the Hebrew priest of Kohan, you will see the triangle was part of the priestly blessing, and some used it to direct the sun to the pineal gland while sun gazing. Now, when you watch Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, who do they call apes right now? I see all these videos of mocking so-called black people, calling us apes and monkeys. Now, when you watch the beginning of that film, when they are putting Caesar to rest, they're all throwing up the triangle, right? They're throwing up the rock. I also believe the triangle was a homage to the Winter Triangle constellation, where Renaissance painters depicted heaven. As a result of living in the information age, there needed to be a countermeasure on ancient knowledge to curtail the masses from investigation. This is the reason why you see many occult symbols interwoven into an entertainer's performance art. These entertainers are adopting ancient symbols and artifacts to make them appear unholy and to discourage investigation. The most abused ancient symbols are the triangle and the all-seeing eye. After reading this book, you should be familiar with the original meaning for these symbols. Isaiah 5:20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. These entertainers attempt to deceive the masses by vilifying ancient symbols pregnant with purpose. In truth, these entertainers are choosing darkness over light, and we see how their lives unfold through social media or Hollywood. These entertainers have become intoxicated with wealth and have chosen material over spiritual. Most of them will die unfulfilled without activating their spiritual selves. The hole most people feel in their souls is their spiritual bodies yearning to be activated. We all feel a tugging at our heartstrings to return to our original home and kingdom. Right here it states, therefore the ancients were happy to be able to communicate in both worlds. It is a time we reevaluate those people who promote ancient things as evil. You know them because they have become obsessed with exposing darkness and offer no solutions. Well, I should not say that, because many will sell you buckets of freeze-dried food or coins with silver in them. They are not searching for the righteous path, because that leads to a total reliance on the spirit and not the material. Many of these ancient symbols are interwoven into fashion and then worn by entertainers. The symbol gets vilified through association, and the observer will not study the origin of them out of fear. I believe these entertainers have handlers, which they do, and the goal is to turn people away from them. I heard some of the silliest commentaries regarding ancient symbols from the most far-reaching observations. Okay, this YouTube commentator called the solar dove a demon coming out of the matrix, which was the sun. People like this have no clue, yet promote their opinions as authorities on things with an ancient origin. This is dangerous because it keeps people trapped in ignorance. Okay. Right here, the Spirit's power. 1 Corinthians 2:4. My message and my preaching were not with wise and persuasive words, but with a demonstration of the Spirit's power. If you think about it, every mega church preacher relies on wise and persuasive words to pull you into their money pit. Mega preachers will tell you how wealthy the Lord wants you to be, which is Baal. Then they say, if this message has touched you, then find it in your heart to donate to this ministry, even though they're a 501(c)(3), right? Well, that is textbook persuasion. None of these mega preachers can demonstrate one miracle Yahweh promised us we could do. In the context of this, they say Jesus, nor have they activated themselves spiritually to demonstrate they know the path Jesus walked, or Yahweh. Most of these church leaders today rely on wise words, which spiritually captivate their audience. The ancients were more hands-on with their spiritual development. The spirit is what comes out of the sun, and the ancient symbol for the spirit looks remarkably like the Christian dove. Jesus, or Yahweh, practiced the methodologies, conditioning himself to receive the Spirit's power. This further substantiates the Eastern account of Jesus, or Yahweh, practicing sun gazing. Once the Spirit enters the body, there is a DNA change, which explains Yahweh defying the laws of physics. There is an understanding in Christian circles the Holy Spirit imbues the human recipient with liabilities that described as magical. Yahweh demonstrated the ability to restore sight to a man who was born blind and the ability to walk to a disabled person. This is the first act of Yahweh providing free health care. Yahweh was able to see, possess people from afar, and even raise the dead. The disciples were able to demonstrate the same. Nowadays, the Christian masses follow man, woman, who cannot, I repeat, who cannot demonstrate one of these things Jesus or Yahushua or his disciples did, yet they are leaders of the flocks. That was the entire point of this book, was to travel back in time and reevaluate the beginning age and the tools for spiritual transformation. Today, spirituality is a object failure when it comes to demonstrating what the disciples were able to do. It should be apparent to all we have missed a vital piece of the spiritual formula for transformation. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting a different result. Yahushua was very clear when he said we would be able to do the same things he did. In John 14:12, Yahushua said, "Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do, he shall do also. And the greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father." Yahushua demonstrated the ability to change his molecular structure, become lighter than air, and walk on water. This is one example of the many abilities he gained through baptism, prayer, water, and sun gazing. Although Jesus or Yahushua is a part of the Godhead, he had to be born human to demonstrate what was possible in a human form, which required a man and a woman. So I don't believe in the Immaculate Conception. Okay. His body was still under the same laws of physics as ours, because he was born of a man and a woman, until he put in the work and followed the formula for spiritual transformation. Yahushua was not the first to do this neither. Some portion of his central goal was to show humanity what the Pharisees covered up to the individuals who might listen closely. Now, I don't know if he meant to show humanity, because all the ancient books, especially the Bible, was for a specific group of people. So I get where they're trying to be inclusive. I could be wrong. I doubt it, though. Okay. It was through demonstration he gained fame, keyword fame, wherever he set foot, not because of his preaching. The modern church system understands we are a duality, but lacks the keys of knowledge to our spiritual transformation. There are many well-intended pastors and preachers out there who strive to improve their lives of their flock. The common disconnect between these preachers and pastors is their training missed. The true ancient path. The Vatican destroyed the true path taught by the ancients over centuries. Hernan Cortez was a Spanish conquistador or conqueror, best remembered for conquering the Aztec Empire in 1521. Okay. And claiming Mexico for Spain. Okay. So you have a lot of Mexicans that are really Spaniards. Okay. They're not the Aboriginal Mexicans or Aztecs or Incas or Olmecs, whatever. Soon after the conquering was done, Jesuit priests showed up with the agenda of ferreting away spiritual secrets in science. We are at the mercy of the 18th century European academics that set the stage for initial understanding of ancient Egypt, while much of their earliest research reflects prejudice by jettison melanated case studies. Perhaps if early European archaeologists focused on the sun and melanin connection in conjunction with the hieroglyphics, they would have unlocked spiritual cultivation methodologies. Modern science understands melanin is a biological chemical molecule with amazing properties. And because of that, it makes sense why the ancient Egyptians wore kilts. Something something the European man would not have been able to do exposed to extreme solar radiation. I say these things not to divide, but to emphasize not all the facts were laid out regarding the original ancient Egyptians. Therefore, it is imperative we rediscover and review ancient artifacts of what is hidden in plain view for spiritual benefits for all humanity. Okay. Separate the meat from the bones. Okay. We need to start with a clean slate, and I hope this is what this book can do. We should now see the sun in a different light, no pun intended, where we use the sun as a tool for spiritual information, as did Yahushua and many ancient cultures before him. In my opinion, it makes sense why the spiritual kingdom would send missionaries to earth to retrain the masses in spiritual truths when they become lost. We are not worshiping the sun. I repeat, we are not worshiping the sun any more than someone who receives a tan from the sun. The sun is a great life sustainer in our solar system, and the ancient Egyptians knew it is also the great spiritual transformer. I would be remiss if I did not re-emphasize the comprehensive process, which includes a slothing process regarding your mentality. If your mentality is not in line with the teachings of Yahushua, you will not experience the transformation. The process of being born again includes a releasing of everything you think you know and everything you currently are. Your soul expectation and emotional responses should be spiritual responses. If you are in a consistent state of conflict, you are not ready. If you are causing division, conflict, non-righteously judging, you are not ready. Please remember, many artists would paint Yahushua pointing at his heart and then up. And of course, those were the Caucasians that were painting those depictions. Your heart is not just pumping your blood, but it is the storehouse of your spiritual state. Your emotional state is the byproduct of your ideology to be born again. You must change your spiritual ideology to that of what Yahushua taught. This means operating out of the state of love, and that is easier said than done. If you are harboring behaviors such as hatred, racism, oppression, manipulation, dishonesty, fraud, cheating, lying, jealousy, and sexual deviancy, you are out of sorts and will be unworthy to receive the Spirit. Let's say you get to the finish line with the process and retain your heart in addition to the baptism, prayer, water, fasting, and sun gazing. You may one day receive the Holy Dove, and this also might be a question of height of the terrain, elevation where you are standing. Okay. I trust after sun gazing with the copper ankh, copper was scepter, and following the strict ways of Yahushua, your dormant DNA will activate. The moment the holy solar dove enters your body, you will be spiritually transformed. The signal in your tree of life will be raised to its highest potential, and you will appear as a god to people. This might sound so far-fetched to some, but Psalms 82:6 states, I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. Okay? And God meaning what? Judges. Okay? Judges. Like the judges of Israel. So right here, 82:6, I say ye are gods, children of the Most High, all of you. Nevertheless, you shall die like mortals and fall like any prince. Okay? The gods condemned to death when we die or when we pass on. descend to Sheol, the abode of the dead. Okay? Of course, you can also read it as the gods condemned to death descend to hell, meaning what? The grave, the pit. You are no longer alive. So right here, natural geometric shapes of 4 tones. We've seen this. Looks familiar, right? Frequencies also affect the shape of water molecules in our human body. There are studies where a bowl of water is bombarded with sound from a tone generator and geometric shapes take form in the water. Here are metrics for water in the human body. Up to 60% of the human adult body is water, according to H.H. Mitchell, Journal of Biology, Chemistry 158. The brain and heart are composed of 73% water, and the lungs about 83% water. The skin contains 64% water. Muscles and kidneys are 79%, and even the bones are watery, 31%. I trust sun gazing for a prolonged period tunes the human physiology to that of the sun. Although you cannot hear the sun, it is beaming frequency inside the human body along with the ultraviolet light. The water in the human body is transforming to the frequency of the sun. This must somehow play a role in the pineal gland as well. The sun's frequency is 126.22 hertz, and its natural frozen in time shape is captured through symbols in ancient times. Providing the ancients were aware of it, and the Pharisees and the Vatican have hidden the meaning. When you see the shape of the sun's frequency and the ancient constructs of it, you will agree they are remarkably similar. There is no denying this once you see it. Okay? I laugh when I see the image of the water structure, the sun frequency, and the flower of life of the sun's frequency, because I say to myself, who is sun worshiping now? The sun is nested and hidden inside Christianity, which is only mentioned 3 times in the book, where it has a great importance, and the powerless people traipse across church pews as if they are on their way to spiritual transformation, which they're not. Church nowadays is just like therapy, okay? Or a bad place to go to therapy. A bunch of hypocrites and judges, okay? If you do not realize the path to spiritual transformation is hidden, I have some sweet swamp land to sell you in Florida. Psalms 2:4. On the one enthroned in heaven laughs, the Lord scoffs at them. We are truly a lost people, and it is time we reclaim our place in the sun. Sound also plays a vital role in our spiritual cultivation on the road to our spiritual transformation. So a lot of these people, especially in Hollywood or the ish people, know like the bad, music, the rap. There's a reason why it went from consciousness rap to the, state it's in right now, which is non-existent. It doesn't lift you spiritually. Okay. Thoughts and prayers can change the water structures in our bodies, and we can harmonically resonate with the sun's frequency. It should be apparent even the ancients knew this. Okay.